This is a rant video coming to you from Brooklyn, New York. And the topic of this video is the irony of the NBA's golden age. Now, I'm old enough that I got to grow up with the NBA's golden age. And let me tell you, it was fucking fantastic. The golden age went from, it started the year Magic Johnson and Larry Bird came into the league, which was 1979. And it ended roughly with Michael Jordan's last year with the Bulls, which was 1997. So it was a 2-decade-long golden age. And anyone that experienced it just loved every minute of it. It was just absolutely fantastic. Now, in the early part of this golden age, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, they were basically considered kind of the two all-time greats. They came in, they saved the league. They were the primary rivalry that was going on. And then eventually Michael Jordan came in and obliterated them completely. And after that, Larry Bird's fortunes and his legacy really were kind of on a severe downturn, right? He was just considered this, this slow, ridiculous white guy that was totally overrated. And Magic Johnson's legacy was kind of tarnished a little bit as well, but not quite as much. Now, lately though, Larry Bird has been undergoing something of a revival because the NBA now is a completely different game, as everybody knows. And I think people are starting to realize that Larry Bird would probably be the greatest player in the game right now. He would basically be a combination of Steph Curry and Nikola Jokic, right? If Steph Curry and Nikola Jokic had a baby together, it would be Larry Bird. And along with this resurgence of Larry Bird's fortunes has come like an incredible wave of nostalgia for the NBA in its golden age, right? If you go on YouTube, there's all this footage of like 80s basketball games and just incredible reminiscence pieces of the NBA and like how great it was. And I mean, people are now pining for what the game used to be as opposed to like the ridiculous and absurd spectacle that it is now. So, the irony here is that the only reason this golden age actually happened is because everybody was too stupid to realize what the three-point shot actually did to the game. Now, the three-point shot was introduced in Larry Bird's first season, but like nobody used it. Like it really wasn't used for like 2 decades. Like even really good outside shooters like Andrew Toney, they didn't shoot the three. And basically the game just kind of went along almost like the three-point line didn't exist. It was like a novelty, right? It's like if you got to the end of the game and you were within 3 instead of being within 2, you could try to tie it up with one shot. And there was a little bit of it kind of featured a little bit in the game, but very, very little. People didn't use it, even though just a simple look at elementary probabilities in the context of the game itself, you could realize that basically there was no point in doing anything but jacking threes the minute they put that line in place. So the question becomes, what would have happened to the NBA's golden age if people hadn't been so stupid and they understood what the three-point line meant, right? What would have happened if like American schools actually taught people math? and basically the contemporary game manifested right in the early 80s. So that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, we're going to start with Larry Bird. Okay, Larry Bird. He would still be great in this case, but he wouldn't be the Larry Bird that we remember at all. Larry Bird was an incredible rebounder, but rebounding really isn't a thing in the contemporary game, right? I mean, for rebounding to be a skill, that is predicated on the idea that both teams are trying to rebound missed shots all the time, right? But if the offensive team is just standing around at the three-point line bombing threes, right, and then if they miss, the ball just bounces and someone picks it up, right, that's not skill, right? That's not a rebound. You're just standing there and you picked up the ball. So that's mostly what rebounding is right now. So like the fact that Larry Bird was a good rebounder is just kind of irrelevant. Okay, Larry Bird, his passing, one of the greatest passers of all time. Would it still be valuable? Well, I mean, I think it would, sort of. I think certainly his outlet passing would be really valuable. The half-court passing probably less so, because in the contemporary game, everybody is just so spread out that most people are wide open, and most passes are to wide open people, and most shots are wide open. So it's like, I mean, you don't really need someone with the skill of a Larry Bird to be throwing incredible passes. Okay, his defense. I mean, part of Larry Bird's resurgence is that people sort of realized that Larry Bird was quite underrated as a defender. Like, he was really, really good as a team defender, and he would be really good, in the contemporary game as well. He was never a lockdown defender, but he was just so smart. He would be valuable. Okay, so Larry Bird would be great, but we have to face the fact that Larry Bird would, he would be very effective in the contemporary game, but he really, he would be pretty boring, really, right? He wouldn't be very exciting to watch, right? He would be standing out at the three-point line bombing threes all day, because to have him do anything else would just be totally ridiculous and not in the best interest of the team, right? If you can shoot threes like that, then you just do that. That's the most valuable thing you can do. Okay, next up, the Showtime Lakers of the mid-1980s. Okay, so I was a Celtics fan as a kid, and I hated the Lakers, but I'll admit, the Showtime Lakers and their fast break, it was really the most beautiful thing from the golden age of the NBA. It was the most beautiful part of it. Okay, so the Showtime Laker fast break, like that doesn't even exist. That is totally gone. That does not even happen. Because nobody, this idea of like running down to the other end of the court really fast for a layup, I mean, that's ridiculous. What you do is you kind of jog down and you jack a three from 30 feet, right? You pull up and drain a three, right? There's no more really, there's no really concept of a fast break anymore. And so, the Laker fast break is just ridiculous. And if you think about the Showtime fast break, I mean, it was so, those guys were running so fast. I mean, they were, the Laker fast break was like basically double speed of what the contemporary NBA is, right? With these like kind of lazy people just jogging down, like lollygagging. Like the speed that fast break went was absolutely breathtaking. There's no point in doing that. That's just pointless. The other thing about fast breaks is that they kind of assume that the other team is kind of close to its own basket, either shooting or trying to get an offensive rebound. And but they're not. They're standing around at 30 feet, bricking threes. So it's like, it's actually pretty easy to get back on defense. Okay, so like the LA fast break and that beautiful thing, that doesn't even exist. Okay, Magic Johnson. I mean, honestly, does Magic Johnson, does he even make the league? I mean, seriously, I mean, a slow 6'8" guy that can't really jump and he can't shoot the three ball. Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at Magic Johnson. Okay, he himself was a really good rebounder, but we've kind of seen that rebounding is not really a thing anymore. His passing, again, like Bird, one of the greatest passers of all time, but most of his incredible passing was in the context of the fast break, and the fast break isn't really a thing anymore. Now, not all of it. He was also a good half-court passer, but it's like sort of less valuable. As a defender, I mean, he's just a total liability. I mean, Magic Johnson was a liability as a defender in the 80s. I mean, can you imagine trying to lock down the perimeter, keep people from shooting three-point shots, from 25, 28 feet, and lock down people like Kevin Durant and Cooper Flagg and people it's absolutely ridiculous to think about this. So, Magic Johnson, this incredibly unique talent and everything, but seriously, wouldn't teams be better off just having some fucking genetic freak with a 10-foot wingspan? I think that's an open question. Okay, Hakeem Olajuwon and his beautiful post-up game, completely irrelevant, right? The dream shake, completely irrelevant, right? I suppose Olajuwon would make the league just because he was so incredibly athletic. He could totally do it. But seriously, a center who can't drain the three ball and who doesn't have handles, who can't cross over a guard at 28 feet, I don't know. How valuable is he really? But I suppose he makes the league based on athleticism. Okay, Kevin McHale, my absolute favorite player from the golden age of the NBA. Honestly, I don't even think McHale makes the league. Maybe he does, just because he was such a physical freak and he did have really long arms. But you know what? He was kind of uncoordinated. In terms of being a defender, he wasn't coordinated the way modern defenders are. Certainly can't shoot the three ball, he can't dribble. I don't even know if he makes the league. Honestly, the kind of center from the golden age that would have a shot in the contemporary NBA is Bill Laimbeer, right? A slow, thick, white dude that can kind of bomb threes reasonably well. That's who would probably make the would be able to make in the contemporary league, as a backup center, or maybe a number 3 center, right? And who? Think about it. Who wants to watch Bill Laimbeer? Nobody, right? So, okay. So, let's see where we are now. In terms of other physical freaks from the golden age, Charles Barkley and Dennis Rodman, I don't know what to say about them, right? They were such freakish athletes that it's hard for me to say that they wouldn't make the league and be effective in some way. I suppose Barkley could bomb some threes, and even if he wasn't that good, he would probably make up for it. I don't know, who knows. And then we come to the GOAT himself, Michael Jordan. So what do we think about Michael Jordan? Is Michael Jordan still the GOAT? Well, I don't know, it's not clear. I'm not really sure he is. Let's look at his three-ball game. Okay, forget the years where they moved the line in, they don't count, right? If you look at the years where the three-point line was normal, Jordan had 2 years where he kind of stepped up the amount of times he was shooting the three. He kind of shot it as much as Bird used to shoot it, just for these 2 years. And in those 2 years, he shot 36%. So, that is just average three-point shooting, right? It's not great. But, Kevin Durant wasn't that much above average, if I remember right, and all, and he still kind of eventually made a career bombing threes. So it was okay, so, maybe Jordan would be okay, and if he practiced, I'm sure he would get better. Okay, in terms of his unbelievably beautiful, like mid-range game, like completely ridiculous. Like he wouldn't even be able to, you wouldn't even have him do that, right? It's just absurd. Why do you want him like fucking around with all that shit when someone could just shoot a wide open three? Like it's just totally ridiculous. So like he wouldn't even do that. You know, in terms of driving for dunks, I'm sure there would be an aspect of that would still be around. Okay, as a defender, yeah, I mean, certainly he was one of the greatest defenders of all time. In the contemporary game, yeah, I mean, it would be a little bit different though, right? Because Michael Jordan was kind of short, you know, and if you're trying to lock down the perimeter, it's kind of better if you have like a 7'5" praying mantis out there. Like that kind of works better. But he was like Bird. He was an unbelievable team defender, unbelievably smart, and also, I mean, I imagine he would be pretty effective. So okay, so at the end of the day, does Michael Jordan does he able to get up into the realm of Larry Bird, Steph Curry, and Nikola Jokic? I mean, the guy was so talented and so driven. He probably would figure out a way to like be the GOAT or one of the GOATs, despite the contemporary game. But I'll tell you one thing that is absolutely the case is that Michael Jordan's highlight reel wouldn't have half the fucking amazing shit that he did. You know what? Because you want to know why? Because the most impressive stuff that he did was done in a context where people were actually playing defense against him, right? But defense is kind of not a super big thing anymore. So, all those like incredibly difficult shots, I mean, he would probably be able to just go straight to the basket untouched. And yes, he was probably the most beautiful dunker of all time. But, those are great, but really, what set him apart was the stuff that he did when he had 5 guys draped on him and he somehow still managed to score. So there you go with Michael Jordan. Okay, lastly, I want to just say a little bit about the bad boy Pistons, right? They won 2 championships. Who would survive? Okay, we've already talked about Lambeer. Okay, Joe Dumars, he was kind of short, but he could drain the 3. So, he would probably make it as like a backup point guard, maybe. Everybody else, they don't even make the league. I mean, maybe they make the D League, but Adrian Dantley, he doesn't even make the D League, right? Adrian Dantley is coach in high school. So anyway, so there you go. So, it's kind of incredible to think about this NBA golden age that we're all pining for, right? And to realize like this shit shouldn't have even happened, right? It only happened because nobody had a fucking clue that they ruined the goddamn game by introducing that 3-point shot. They never should have put the 3-point shot in, just like baseball never should have moved the fences in, right? The game just, not only did it just totally change everything about it, the equation of scoring, but it also it made rebounding completely ridiculous and meaningless. It made assists meaningless. It even made free throws kind of meaningless, right? Because you don't score in traffic anymore. You just you run out to the 3-point line and jack a 3. It's just absurd. And so basically, like if people knew what the 3-point shot really was back then like none of this golden era would have happened. And honestly, I think what would have happened is I think the NBA would have immediately gone out of business. Okay, because like if you think about like the NBA of the 70s, which in my opinion was really not that exciting, and then if it transitions straight to a bunch of fucking assholes jacking 3s all the time and nobody playing any defense, honestly, I think the whole goddamn thing would have gone out of business. So, so this is why, the NBA is crashing in terms of viewer interest, and everybody is sitting on YouTube and watching these historic 40-year-old grainy ass game footage of Lakers Celtics games from 1985, and just marveling at how unbelievably beautiful and exciting and dramatic the game used to be. And you know what? I mean, I don't blame them for doing that, because, you know, I grew up with it, and it really was as fantastic as it seems from today's perspective. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.